Ah, hello, Donald Smith. I'm doing a live reading of one of Rudyard Kipling's stories called How the Camel Got His Hump. So here we go. Now this is the next tale, and it tells how the camel got his big hump. In the beginning of years, when the world was so new and all, and the animals were just beginning to work for man, there was a camel, and he lived in the middle of a howling desert because he did not want to work, and besides he was a howler himself. So he ate sticks and thorns and tamarisks and milkweed and prickles, most excruciatingly idle. And when anybody spoke to him, he said, just and no more. Presently the horse came to him on Monday morning with a saddle on his back and a bit in his mouth, and said, Camel, oh camel, come out and trot like the rest of us. Said the camel, and the horse went away and told the man. Presently the dog came to him with a stick in his mouth, and said, Camel, oh camel, come and fetch and carry like the rest of us. Said the camel, and the dog went away and told the man. Presently the ox came to him with a yoke on his neck, and said, Camel, oh camel, come and plow like the rest of us. Said the camel, and the ox went away and told the man. At the end of the day, the man called the horse and the dog and the ox together and said, 303, I'm very sorry for you, with the world so new and all, but that thing in the desert can't work, or he would have been here by now. So I'm going to leave him alone, and you must work double time to make up for it. That made the three very angry, with the world so new and all, and they made a palaver and an idaba and a pushaya and a powwow on the edge of the desert. And the camel came chewing milkweed, most excruciatingly idle, and laughed at them. Then he said, and went away again. Presently there came along the Djinn in charge of all deserts, rolling in a cloud of dust. Djinns always travel that way because it's magic. And he stooped to the palaver and the pow-pow with the three. Djinn of all deserts, said the horse, is it right for anyone to be idle with the world so new and all? Certainly not, said the Djinn. Well, said the horse, there's a thing in the middle of your howling desert, and he's a howler himself, and with a long neck and long legs, and he hasn't done a stroke of work since Monday morning. He won't trot. Whew, said the Djinn, whistling. That's my camel for all the gods in Arabia. What does he say about it? He says, said the dog, and he won't fetch and carry. Does he say anything else? Only, said, and he won't plow, said the ox. Very good, said the Djinn. I'll, him, if you will kindly wait a minute. The Djinn rolled himself up in his dust cloak, and took a bearing across the desert, and found the camel most excruciatingly idle, looking at his own reflection in a pool of water. My long and bubbling friend, said the Djinn, what's this I hear of you doing no work, with the world so new and all? Said the camel. The Djinn sat down, and with his chin in his hand, and began to think to a great magic, while the camel looked at his own reflection in the pool of water. You've given the three extra work ever since Monday morning, and on account of your excruciating idleness, said the Djinn, and he went on thinking magics with his chin in his hand. Said the camel. I shouldn't say that again if I were you, said the Djinn. You might say it once too often. Bubbles, I want you to work. And the camel said, again. But no sooner had he said it than he saw his back, that he was so proud of, puffing up into a great big lolloping hump. Do you see that, said the Djinn? That's your very own hump, that you brought upon your very own self by not working. Today is Thursday, and you've done no work since Monday, when the work began. Now you are going to work. How can I, said the camel, with this humph on my back? That's made a purpose, said the Djinn, all because you missed those 3 days. You will be able to work now for 3 days without eating, because you can live on your own humph. And don't you ever say I never did anything for you. Come out of the desert and go to the three and behave, humph yourself. And the camel humphed himself, humph and all, and went away to join the three. And from that day to this, the camel always wears a humph. We now call it a hump, not to hurt his feelings. But he has never yet caught up with the 3 days that he had missed in the beginning of the world, and he has never yet learned how to behave. The camel's hump is an ugly lump, which well you may see at the zoo, but uglier yet is the hump we get from having too little to do. Kiddies and grown-ups too to do. If we haven't enough to do, we get the hump, camelicious hump, the hump that is black and blue. We climb out of the bed with frivolous head and snarly yell voice. We shiver and scowl, and we grunt and we growl at our bath and our boots and our toys. And there ought to be a corner for me, and I know there is one for you, when we get the hump, camellious hump, the hump that is black and blue. The cure for this ill is not to sit still, or frost with a book by the fire, but to take a large hoe and shovel also, and dig till you gently perspire. And then you will find that the sun and the wind and the Djinn of the garden too have lifted the lump, the horrible hump, the hump that is black and blue. I get it as well as you if I haven't enough to do. We all get humped, camelicious hump, kiddies and grown-ups too. All right, and that's that story, and later.